Apple, the giant between sobriety and technology. This is the subject of this video. First, we will introduce the history of Apple and its iPad to you, then we will present and analyze the picture of the ad we choose, and in the end, we will analyze the ad in itself and talk about the success and failures of this ad and its products.
First, we will talk about how Apple and its iPad revolutionized the tablet market in the US and all around the world. So, to start, Apple has experimented in the 90s, precisely in 1993, its first tablet tries, if we call it that at the time, the Newton message pad. Then, the pen life followed in the same period of years, but hasn't been commercialized. The conception of the very first iPad started in 2000, between 2004 and 2007, but its first release and commercialization on the US market was in 2010 only, with the iPad 3rd generation. The iPad concept was to keep the same interface as the iPhone already commercialized at this time, what then became its signature. To continue, the iPad stepped up with different designs, processors, interfaces, and then it goes with adding different accessories over time. Let's start with the first generation. It is composed of a simple interface and design to keep the idea of the iPhone but bigger. Then comes the second generation with a faster processor and a thinner design. The Retina screen arrived with the third generation, which revolutionized the screen resolution. In a new time, the iPad mini concept has been developed because Apple had the goal to face tablet concurrency on the marketplace and wanted to play on an educational side, like pocket format that is easier to carry and could replace a book, always with the iPod Touch. After, there was the iPad Air launching, which gave a boost and put a spoke in Apple's wheel at the same time. It's an innovation in the way that this iPad was thinner, heavier, faster, as well as the start of the Touch ID function for its range. However, Apple was making concurrency to itself with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus released at the same time. Therefore, it will have been worth a little decline for the brand regarding the iPad. To remedy that and boost its sales again, Apple has then released a new tablet, the Pro range, with its iPad Pro, released in 2015. It was to give a more serious image to the brand, or at least at the iPad range. This is how Apple started to commercialize accessories for its tablets, such as the first Apple Pencil, the Smart Connector, and the keyboard. Afterwards, Apple continued to innovate with some major changes on the iPad, like processor, design, color, Face ID function, and speed. This is what brings us more recently to the iPad Pro 11 and its Magic Keyboard, of which we will present you the ad next.
About the description of the picture. To begin, the ad shows us the product in the foreground, the Magic Keyboard with the iPad in the center of the picture, to emphasize and give importance to the product. On the left, we can see the name of the product in the foreground too. As we can see, there's a little hummingbird floating above the iPad, a key point for this analysis. We'll see this after. The key issue here is the magic aspect of the Magic Keyboard, represented by the hummingbird. The keyboard also gives the impression that it is floating like a bird. As itself, the hummingbird is a symbol of lightness and joy. A hummingbird is a flexible creature that can exhibit swift, rapidly changing flight patterns at the drop of a hat. That's the message Apple wanted to give of its product. The ad stays clean and spare because it's Apple purpose, so the consumers focus more on the product, but also to give this refined aesthetic to the brand. The product is an iPad but seems to be a laptop because the goal of this new iPad is to give the consumer the possibility to use it as a tablet or as a laptop, but lighter and modular. The idea is to reach the people needing a computer so they can use the iPad with the Magic Keyboard while having the modular advantages of the tablet with the comfort and practicality of a laptop. Here, the keyboard has a magnet, so the iPad can be held in the air above the keyboard, contributing to a better comfort to the consumer's eyes during its use. About the image graphism, we see on the left that the product name is in bold letters, so it is pretty visible for the public eyes. In its entirety, there are only these big letters and the little Apple logo on the bottom left corner. The product is presented in profile to remind the thinness and the cleanliness of its lines, but above all, because the Retina screen is not the principal sale argument here. The profile position of the product associated with its Magic Keyboard is the best way to represent the strength, the ergonomy, and so the sale arguments of the two products. What's more, this position is also the most suitable to the meeting between the iPad Pro 11 floating thanks to the Magic Keyboard and the Hummingbird floating too, curious to discover what seems to be one of its congeners. The product in itself is highlighted by a colorful little bird, certainly to attract the eye. The hummingbird, full of colors, represents the Retina screen, very pretty, colorful, luminous, and fluid, thanks to the iOS speed. That's due to the choice to represent the profile product Apple couldn't represent here. We can add that the image background is white in order to put the elements forward and always keep the idea of sobriety and simplicity of the brand.
By connecting the aesthetic aspect of the ad to the product and its range, this product is intended to a specific social class, the middle class. A survey by Northwestern Mutual found that 70% of Americans consider themselves middle class. The class includes a combination of education level and income, almost professional. With this new campaign, Apple wants to reach more people because, as this graph of American iPad users shows, even though iPad users increase, there's still not a huge difference through the years. By suggesting a tablet and a computer in one, they would reach more consumers and different kinds of people, students, parents, or workers. Moreover, this new Pro range is intended more particularly to professionals from this social class. The launching of Apple products are always eagerly awaited by consumers, especially their keynote annual events where the brand presents their new ideas and projects. That's why their advertising campaigns have a huge importance for their reputation. First of all, this campaign has been very appreciated by the public, especially because of the iconic Apple aesthetic. However, some people didn't like the symbolic bird, thinking using a butterfly to represent floating would have been better. They thought the butterfly would have been more representative of a floating animal. Concerning the substance of the ad, the product is considered too expensive by the internet users. We can also take into account the concurrency that could have a big advantage on this point with a better price range. Some users even say that it's only a copy of other brands' tablets, and so that there is nothing really innovative with the iPad Pro 11. About the Magic Keyboard, the positive points are that it's very solid with a very good quality, but it's heavy, thick, more than the MacBook Pro, and there are no function tiles on the keyboard compared to Microsoft with the Surfaces. Finally, it said that the keyboard just makes the iPad a better tablet more than it transforms it into a laptop. Like to use it for multitasks, multi-screens, and it's fast to go from laptop to tablet. More clearly, it develops and pushes a little further the strong points of the iPad Pro 11.